Ted, it's great to be speaking with you today. We'd love to hear, to start the interview for the audience, just a little bit of background on the work that you're doing and what Inflection AI is doing in the model space.
Sure, John. Well, Inflection AI, of course, has a tremendously rich history, having been founded by Reid Hoffman and Mustafa Suleyman back in 2022, January, a year before all the rest of us found out about all this crazy technology when ChatGPT was launched. And so they've been at it for a long time and had this vision all the way back in January 22 that AI could be an assistant, that it could actually not only interact with us, but also take actions for us. And so what we've been doing since last year is taking that vision, which was originally focused on consumers, and we still do run Pi.ai, but taking that vision and moving it to the enterprise. And so fantastic progress that we made in the last year, and we've been delivering, we've got over 100 customers now, a variety of types and sizes, but tremendous progress.
That's really exciting, and I know from our past conversations, one of the entry points that's really powerful in Inflection AI is your ability to balance speed, innovation with safety and transparency. Can you talk to me a little bit more about how enterprises are thinking about this and being successful?
Sure. Well, I think one of the first things that Mustafa and his team thought about when they were thinking about creating an AI that people would interact with is making sure that it was safe to do so. So trust and safety has always been a really foundational pillar for us as a company. And actually the architecture of our application stack reflects that. So we don't rely upon one monolithic model to do trust and safety. We actually have separate models that handle different aspects of trust and safety. And that makes us really well tuned to being able to serve enterprises. Because different enterprises will have actually different needs with respect to trust and safety. So if you're operating a global company, in some parts of the world, for example, you are not permitted to talk about Falun Gong. In other parts of the world, you're not allowed to talk about the Nazi Party. So you have to be able to be adjustable around the world and by industry. So if you are an arms manufacturer, it's probably okay if your employees talk about things blowing up. And if you're at McDonald's, you probably don't want your employees talking about things blowing up, right? So that's a really core pillar for us.
Yeah, and you did, I appreciate that you started to go into some of the regional differences. What we're seeing really on the infrastructure side as well as across the entire AI stack is this new concept of sovereign AI, where it's owned by the company, where it's owned by the government, where it's subject to the local laws. I'd love for you to, just for the audience, give an overview of what is sovereign AI, how's it impacting, and where do you see it going?
Sure. So first of all, let me say that I think every company is going to be polyglot. So you're not going to use a single model, you're going to use a whole bunch of models. And so a really important part of your AI infrastructure is going to be how do you manage a multi-model world. But the most value that organizations are going to get is through the customization of those models and of the architecture overall of which models they're consuming. And so if you're in different parts of the world or you're in different industries, or you have different local cultural issues, you want the model to reflect that. You want it to be able to be there and be the supportive, available friend and a coworker, if you will, to your employees that knows what your culture is all about, what your company's about, what your industry is about. And the only way to do that is to actually customize those models and own those models yourself. So from a sovereign AI perspective, obviously the word sovereign often gets just associated to governments. But we think of sovereign AI as actually you own your own AI, and that can be a company as much as it can be any other kind of organization, including and all the way up to governments.
Yep. Yeah, and as you think about the business of the future, owning AI, this is something that we continue to see more and more. In some cases, people are thinking about costs, right? Mm-hmm. There's a massive cost savings by owning everything and controlling it. I also think it unlocks some really interesting future avenues of how you can interact and grow your business, and I'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. Well, if you think about all the different reasons why you might choose one model or another model given a particular AI workload, we think security is going to be a big issue. Mm-hmm. We do think control is an issue. We think cost is an issue. Latency is an issue. We think that quality is an issue, and by quality I don't mean it always has to be the highest quality, because actually the highest quality may not be necessary for the task at hand, right? And then there are special capabilities. And so what you're going to want to do as an organization, as your use of AI becomes broader and deeper, is that you're going to want to be able to allow your employees to navigate choices amongst different models based upon all those different criteria. We had one customer, for example, where They had a team that was working on a project, and suddenly, and because they were monitoring it, because they had a control plane that we provided, they saw that in 1 hour, that group consumed 3 billion tokens. Like, runaway process, right? It's like, okay, wait. Now maybe there was value in those 3 billion tokens, or maybe they just uploaded a video. But the problem is you need to be able to control that, and you need to be able to direct it to the right model. So if I have a model that costs me pennies to run, fine, 3 billion tokens is nothing. If it costs me hundreds of dollars to run per billion tokens, this starts being a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the interesting opportunity for a company is to say, I have a set of use cases. I want to be able to define the right application architecture and the right models to support those use cases. And in some cases, that will mean I need to pre-train a model. So I want to be able to take a corpus of information that's specific to that use case and actually custom build a model around it. Sometimes it'll be about fine-tuning. And I say, well, great, actually, I have a model that works well, but I want to adjust it to be able to have the behavior that I want to have. Sometimes it'll be around RAG. And then it'll be about different size models and different characteristics around those models. So that's the set of challenges that companies face today. And they don't even know it yet, right? As I was saying on our main stage here at the AI Infrastructure Summit, there is very little understanding of the scale of compute that companies are going to be consuming here, even in the next few years.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a really interesting topic in quality, but thinking of quality not as what has the highest quality, but what has the right quality for my use case.
Precisely.
This is something that we do, and I think it becomes more important in an agentic world because some things can be solved fast and cheap, and then some things can go into a bigger, more complex, thoughtful model. Do you have any cool examples of something you've implemented in that vein that you could share with the audience?
I have a really funny one, because it's not just about models, by the way, it's also about models and tools. Yep. So I will credit Vibhu Mittal, our tremendous chief technology officer, for this one. He said, look, if you want to figure out what 2 + 2 equals, that's one arithmetic operation. But if you ask a large language model, you're going to do 1 billion calculations.
Yes, yeah, it definitely comes down to using the right thing for the right use case. I think to kind of thinking about the next thing, I know you guys do a lot of work on helping companies select who are the right models. Is there anything else you want to share about the work your team does and how people could engage with you?
Sure. Well, I think one of the biggest unlocks in 2025 for companies is going to be Agentic AI. I know here in Silicon Valley, we're surrounded by it. We think everybody knows what it is. Most people in the world have never even heard that expression. Okay. So we also have to recalibrate and recognize that, hey, we're always going to be at the bubble, and we have to actually then translate what we do to the rest of the world. And I think one of the big translations for us when we think about agentic is going to be security. Mm-hmm. And the existing models, MCP and others, there are some really big concerns that the enterprise has about how is this going to run in a controlled way inside my corporate environment and do real work. So one of the biggest things we're focused on right now is enterprise-ready, secure MCP. So stay tuned for that.
Cool. Sounds exciting. Look forward to hearing more. Ted, it was great talking with you today.
Great talking to you, John. Thank you.